Alright, hey guys, this is Snack Attack 8, and welcome to the supplemental readings, on the additional video for the Final Fantasy IX project. In this video, I'm joined by some of my dank boy friends who also are big fans of the game, and we're gonna I guess we're just gonna shoot the breeze about the ending and kind of go over it because it's good. And I liked it a lot, and there were a couple things that I feel like I didn't necessarily get to talk too much about or give my real opinion on, so we decided we were going to do a little extra video, just mostly for fun. Probably going to be a lot of memes and bullshit in it too, so with me today I have...
Hi, I'm Fire Knight 87. I'm the idiot that's been counting trances all playthrough.
Yeah.
Ooh. Hi, I'm King Kians, and I don't do shit.
I didn't do shit.
Hi, I'm Elkanor Beck, and I like the princess. I guess
She does.
She likes the princess. That's fucking. I tee it up like. And here I have my three of my friends with me who are just so really love this game, just cherish it. And then Beck goes, I love the princess, I guess.
She's okay.
I do.
She possibly might be the biggest fan of the game I know, and that's her.
She definitely got you into the game, right?
She did, actually, yeah.
I force it upon people.
Yeah.
Of course, Fire Knight 87, we're going to call him Sizz, just because that's what he goes by on other...
Yeah,
that's what we know him as. He got the upgrade, the special viewer bump into being in this video. And then Taryn and Beck you can find on the Puddle Plains HD collaborative channel that I'm a part of, that we do stuff on sometimes.
To be fair, technically I'm an ascended fan too. I just bumped up from fan to bestie bro or whatever rank I am now.
We became bros.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have any real structure that much to this. We're just going to talk about the ending and say some things about it. What did you guys think of what did you guys think about the part when they were flying? Let's start at the beginning of the final dungeon, which there's not really that much to talk about, I feel like. But anyone like the fucking the airship attack scene?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's actually
cool.
It's actually one of my favorite moments in the game, I'll say.
Aren't there moments like that in another Final Fantasy? Wasn't there one? Didn't 10 do that?
Yeah, it did. For when they attack.
When they crash the wedding?
Spoilers for Final Fantasy X, by the way.
The wedding, and then when they go into the final dungeon, they all take the airship and then go in.
Because I remember when Sid's like, the final showdown with Shin. And then they go or something.
I should probably play that game sooner than later, huh, guys?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was cool.
Oof.
Yeah, that was a good moment. I liked that a lot. I like that. I always like when in games with the side characters get to do a thing.
Yeah. It also reminds me of the Subspace Emissary.
Oh yeah, dude, how good is that scene in the Subspace?
like best scene, right?
What if when they were flying in, fucking the airship Halberd came in too, and the Falcon Flyer flew by.
Midnight's like, I don't even know why I'm here.
It took less than 5 minutes to switch from Final Fantasy 9 to 10 to Brawl.
To Super Smash Brothers Brawl. I know Sizz mentioned to me when we were talking about that part that he really liked the soundtrack, or the music piece for that specific cutscene, and I went back and listened to it, and it's cool.
It's a good.
It is. And it just goes
really
so
good.
well with the scene.
Yeah. So then they went into the final dungeon, which is what do you guys feel about that final dungeon?
Interesting idea.
I love it.
So the whole, it feels to me like the whole ending kind of brings this memories thing in. Did you guys feel like that? Did that come out of not of nowhere, but what Like, it felt like that really, like, they really made a push to, like, make that, like, a big thematic point at the very end. And, like, it was not that much of a thing, really, in the first part of the game, right?
Yeah, to be honest, it was like they made it a feature where people were like, they had memories of things, and they always tried to get back to what they remember, what they were, who they are. And then as soon as it gets to, like, disc 4, it's like everything kind of clumps together. And, like, you just see all the memories happen, but Zidane sees, like, everything. I never liked a lot of disc 4, but I do enjoy it.
Beck hates the game.
No! I love it. It's just, I thought it was always startling. It's like, things exploded.
Things did explode. What, Darren, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, I was going to say, well, I mean, it is kind of out of nowhere. Like, yeah, I guess it kind of does tie into the game's big theme, which in my opinion is identity. I think we all agree on that. Like, we're sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
But yeah, it is a little out. It does kind of come out of nowhere, though. I will agree. But it's not the only thing that does. I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
I guess now that you've, like, if you link the memory thing into, I feel like maybe Memoria should have been a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Or maybe just should have allocated, like, because so you go in and you see, you see Alexandria getting destroyed, and then it kind of, like, it leads into, you're like, oh, like, here's Garnet's memories, and then it's like, oh, but now we all can see them because we're just in, like, the memory world, and then, of course, fucking Garland hijacks and just takes us down, like, Bill Nye the Science Guy lane, and shows, like, the memories tracing back to, like, the very first point that, like, anything even existed, which I thought was cool, but it also felt like there's, like, I expected there to be, like at least the main characters, like, would see some other things from their own journey, like, before that kind of happened.
It was kind of weird. It's all of a sudden it's like, hi, I'm Garland, and I'll be your grand tour guide for Memoria. Aren't you dead? No, I mean, I just fell down a pit. I mean, I'm not dead yet. Isn't that incredibly painful? Oh my, yes.
Yes, the pain was unreal.
Pretty agonizing, to be honest. TBH.
But as far as the, like, aesthetic look of the dungeon, I thought it was really neat. I don't think there's another Final Fantasy that has, like, as cool of really a final area. Because I do like that it just, like, it definitely feels like there's, like, a little narrative arc even in what, like, you're going through. Because it, like, starts and it's like, oh, it's like a castle. And then, like, there's, like, chandeliers and shit flying around. And then, like, a clock. And then you just go into space.
Yeah.
It's like everything's being built in reverse order.
Yeah.
Going back to your roots.
It's the posh breakdown of the game formerly known as Final Fantasy IX.
Is it not still known as that?
It's known as that. But that happened, and then you go into the crystal world, which I guess...
Yeah, sure.
Sure, that happens. And then Death Guys, the most important boss in the whole game.
I honestly forgot he exists until you mentioned him.
I was talking to Taryn, and I was like, yeah, like, I was fighting Death Guys the first time, and he was really easy. Like, what you see in the video was, like, an easy battle with him, because then when I did it off screen, he used Comet and, like, wiped out, like, almost the whole party, and I actually died to him once. Like, I lost again, and then I cut back in, and I beat him the third time. And I was like, yeah, did you think Death Guys was hard? And he goes, I will be honest, I forgot Death Guys even was a thing until you just mentioned it now. I know in the video I thought he was that guardian from Ibsen's castle, but he's certainly not him.
They do look similar, to your credit.
They're like, in my defense, they're both, like, brown, and they're both, like, woogly. Like, they got a woogliness about them. So that was where I was coming with that.
I can
Woogly
see
being
it.
the technical term.
Yeah, woogly being the most descriptive way to describe what that guy looks like. The other guy's name was like Tarkahat or something. He does not. He really like. I went and looked him up. He really doesn't look that much like Death Guys. I just forgot. And I like how when you beat him, Kuja's like, you beat Death Guys? It reminds me of that guy in Pokemon Gold and Silver who like is on the fucking route south of Violet City, and he's like, whoa, you beat Faulkner?
Actually, interesting thing. I guess this kind of goes back to Memoria with our good friend Hades. He actually, if you would have beaten Ozma, which I mean, I don't blame you for not having beaten him. I don't blame you. No, he says something like, "What? You defeated Ozma?" He like actually gets like a little scared. Actually, he's like, "Ooh, maybe I bit off a little more than I can chew." Trying to bully you guys around. This might not end well. He still fights.
I didn't realize that. I just think about it now. It's kind of cool that you do encounter Hades in Memoria, because there's also like well, at least with the final bosses, there's definitely like a heavy like theme of just like death being around, and Hades is also kind of like that. I think somebody left me a comment saying that he was originally maybe intended to be the final boss.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
There's concept art.
Oh.
That implies that.
Concept art.
Ooh, by Clump.
Never heard that before.
I was gonna say that. Concept clump, eh?
Yeah, buddy.
So like, I guess Death Guys, it's a reference to Final Fantasy VI?
That's what...
Right?
I looked him up because I went to look up the other guy. I was like, was that the same guy? And it wasn't. But when I was on the Death Guys page on the Final Fantasy Wikia, shoutouts to them.
Shoutouts to the wiki.
Yeah. I think the guy in Final Fantasy VI has a different name, though, and he doesn't look anything like Death Guys, so I don't know how much of a real reference it actually is.
So
They like to reuse names a lot.
What's that, Sis?
I was going to say, they were probably like, yeah, remember that Death Guys guy from 6? We should bring him back, and then just didn't know what to do with him. They were like, alright, we'll just throw him in the
game. I think his name was Death Gaze in Final Fantasy VI or something. I don't know.
What was that? Maybe
Whatever.
a mistranslation or something?
It could be.
Could be.
There are, as there tend to be, especially in the Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games. But it was alright. I mean, I feel like I would have probably rather had like Trance Kuja and then like Trance Kuja, or like Super Trance Kuja, and then Necron instead of Death Guys, because it was like, what is he, like his pet? Like what is he?
Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Kuja.
Super Kuja. Super Vegeta, the most confusing thing in all of Dragon Ball
God
Z.
damn it. Can we not do this in front of the YouTube channel?
Super Vegeta and Super Trunks are bullshit and never explained, and I don't know what they are still.
Oh my god.
But so then you fight Kuja, the big fight everybody wanted, and it's the best. And the music in the fight is the best thing ever. 10 out of 10, favorite boss, final boss of any game of all time.
That was
that's not true.
That was the drum fill from the Dark Messenger, the battle theme of Trance Kuja from the Final Fantasy IX soundtrack.
From the Final Fantasy, is this a Hunter's Chance from the Final Fantasy IX soundtrack? Yeah. That fight was dope.
Yeah.
Trance Kuja's super cool. He's
Yeah.
basically the best. I think Kuja might be my favorite of all the Final Fantasy villains.
He's
what do you guys
really
think
cool.
about him?
I love him.
I mean, he's responsible for destroying 4 civilian populations in game.
There's definitely a lot of destruction in what is, at the start at least, a very lighthearted fucking fantasy quest.
Way back early on in the project, Snack messaged me something like, everyone in Trino just tugging at their collars right now, like, oof,
Trino being the only city on the Mist Continent not to get fucking obliterated.
That's where Kuja's mansion is.
Yeah.
Well, Dali was okay. But Dolly also, I guess, was helping Kuja too, so
And that-
I guess
yeah.
he didn't.
They're also
The mountain
like,
next
small
to
towns.
Dolly wasn't okay. The guy died.
No, the guy fucking died. Yeah, so that was another thing in the project. I forgot who Morid was. I found out who Morid was. He was the coffee guy.
Yeah, that's sad.
Harmless passerby. Harmless.
Dead.
But yeah, Kuja was the best. That fight was cool. I thought it was like adequately tough. He had that one attack that was like pretty final boss worthy.
Flare Star.
But yeah. But of course, he was not the final boss. The final boss was something much more abstract,
Slightly.
which was
What's
Necron.
funny is, I remember even going to the Final Fantasy wiki, like you said, to look at Necron, and I think it even it states something like, he is never fully explained.
There is no
No.
known explanation for Necron. But I will overlook it because 1, the fight was super fun, and 2, his theme was cool too. It was a cool boss theme. He was like, I liked the way that, I think Sis explained it to me. I liked the way that he was, again, talking about Memoria, and I guess, life and death also being a big theme about the game, because a lot of the main characters had, Vivi definitely had a struggle with, like, coming to terms with figuring that out, and it was definitely around with all the, like, the flow of souls and all that stuff, like, that being the final boss being, like, death as, like, the embodiment. I think it worked, but it all, like, again, like, that whole, like, part of Disc 4 happened so quickly that there wasn't, like, you wouldn't have expected that to come. It definitely comes out of nowhere, but in kind of a cool way.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, I remember we also had a joke snack where I was like, well, I think we were like talking about like stereotypical RPG final bosses. Is like, you've won when like the menu goes away and you see some text that's like, as long as there's like hatred, I shall always be yours. I like well, Necron was one of the guys I thought of, and the only other Final Fantasy I've beaten is 4, so it might kind of
The other best one of all time.
it might be kind of obvious why I have that idea of Final Fantasy final bosses where it's just
I actually think that Necron reminded me a lot of Zero Miss. Like, that definitely got a Final Fantasy 4 vibe from him.
Zero Miss is a little less out of nowhere, maybe.
Yeah.
A
But
little.
still, it's I got that idea. Some people in the comments were like saying it's kind of like the Final Fantasy 5 final boss, but I never played that game.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Maybe someday on
Kind
the
of.
channel.
I don't know.
I do like, I like Necron in the sense that, like, Necron is death. He is the entity of death, and up to that point, like, everything has been like a human causing destruction. Well, not human, a being. Like Kuja, he's your brother. I mean, he's still a person like Zidane. Then there's Garland, who's just kind of like the father of those two.
Yeah.
He's still a being, but then once you get down to it, like, what's left to cause destruction? Oh, death itself.
Does anybody else think that Garland is super lame?
A little bit.
And I know I
okay.
like touched on that in the project a little bit. Maybe just because I am like a big Kuja fan, but the minute like Garland appeared, I was like, oh, this isn't gonna fucking be what I like. I hope this guy's not the real like evil behind this. And he ended up not being, which I liked how he was handled.
He's an
in that-
android. He's cool.
Yeah, he's really not. He doesn't really have any motivation other than what he was created for, which is bad. But he himself has no real emotional like. Well, I mean, I guess his emotions lie with wanting Terra to be preserved, but he's not like. I don't know. When he showed up with his like black cape and like ways, I was like, oh, this is fucking where this is going. And it didn't. And then I like how in the end, he like, I guess after he like failed or some shit, then he kind of became like a guide for Zidane in like the very like final
Somehow.
area. Yeah. Yeah, somehow he did that.
I guess he was like, well, I'm dying, and Kuja's still out there. Might as well, I guess, help Zidane kill him.
Might as well fuck Kuja. He did nothing for me.
Little mad at the guy for what he did. He's definitely dying in the pits.
He destroyed Garland's hopes and dreams. Which just brings me pleasure. But so yeah, Necron being the final boss was better than like Neo Garland. I think.
What if?
Which is what it would have been called were he actually like the final boss.
Oh,
but I guess
I'm bad.
You basically do die, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah,
Pretty much.
you do.
It's basically like everyone dies, death appears before you, and then you kick his ass, and he's like, "You know what, kid? Have a freebie," and then he turns it all back. Is that what happened?
Pretty much. That's how I understand it.
Which that's pretty badass, actually. That kind of kicks ass. I think that's pretty cool. It's a good way to end it off. Unless Kuja had like 3 forms. But that would have been just like Final Fantasy 7 or 6 or any other one.
I was actually thinking like the even though I haven't beaten 6, I know a bit about it just due to like obviously being playing video games and spending any time on the internet, but you know, there's also it also kind of reminded me of like the idea of like a subordinate like becoming like just overthrowing the bad guy and becoming the main antagonist over like the leader of like a bad guy army, which does happen sometimes.
It does happen in both of those.
Definitely.
Sort of,
in FF6, Kefka just starts as like a general, not even like the commander of the bad guys.
But I feel like in this game, you definitely know that. I feel like from the first time you at least see Kuja, you're like, all right, that's the bad guy.
Yeah, Kuja definitely like it happens like a little less subtly.
Yeah. He's definitely not in the forefront really until like disc 2 though, right?
I mean, yeah.
You don't even meet him till the end of disc 1.
Yeah. He kind of just kicks it for the first whole like half of the game, and then he shows up.
Do they?
But there's foreshadowing that he exists and like.
I think Sid mentions him maybe.
I think Garnet mentions him too.
Yeah.
Sid, like
Garnet,
she says, like there's
saw him
a weird guy.
With the queen. Yeah.
Yes.
She's like, there's this weird magician.
I'm sure it's fine.
He's a sorcerer.
He's
a shaman. He's a mage. But
yeah.
And then so somebody else, was it Sis? Did you tell me this? That like if like who gives their soul energy to who? That was so fucking Dragon Ball also. Is now the time to talk about this? Who gives their soul energy right before you fight Necron to who is like really like highly like sophisticated, like it determines.
Yeah, I posted that in the comments.
It's
pretty intense if you look into it. Like, it has, I don't know, it just depends on what your party is and then the leftovers and who they prefer.
Like I would assume like if Vivi isn't in the party, then unless Garnet maybe isn't in the party, he gives his soul energy to Zidane. Or does it has to do with like who likes who or who like has the most interaction with who or something? Which I feel like mine was kind of all over the place.
I guess probably like if Vivi were replaced by Amarant in your party, Steiner or he'd probably give his energy to Steiner is what I was gonna say. Vivi would.
Yeah.
Because they're bros.
Wait. Yeah, I guess that's. But
even though that would be a weird, that it was probably you should probably be replacing Steiner with Amarant if anybody. that would just be weird. We don't need Vivi. Let's put Amarant there. That's a good replacement. For Vivi.
I really wanted to use Amarant in the final battle. He's
like
so
good.
He may not be the coolest like character, but he is like one of the coolest to fight with.
I mean,
But he was also like he ended up being like 10 levels behind going into Memoria, so I didn't want to fucking grind him up.
you also definitely just used the final party for the final battle.
What do you mean?
Like the definitive one. Like I'm.
Oh yeah, that is like the Final Fantasy 9 part.
I don't think I'm like wrong in saying like that was 90% of Final Fantasy 9 like first timers. That was their final party.
Well, I mean, it
It's a solid
does work
party.
out because it's balanced. Like
Yeah.
it's like everyone has their own role. But I could have switched Aiko for Garnet, or Steiner for either Freya or Amron. I feel like, and that probably would have the same purpose.
I actually the first time I remember in the Brain Scratch playthrough, Ryan said something about one of the reasons he used them is because he grew attached to them, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Like
I
those
feel like that.
Yeah, those. Well, I mean, those are the 4 best characters in the game anyway.
They're pretty lovable boys.
Yeah, they were my favorites, and that was how I did it. In 7, I used Cloud Barrett Tifa because I was like, these are my favorite guys.
They're the classics too.
Yeah, but hold on. So them fucking giving their soul energies to the other guys was the Dragon Ballist ever. Kuja versus Zidane is the Dragon Ballist ever. Like, it was definitely a DBZ ending. What do you think about that, Taryn?
Yeah. As a huge Dragon Ball fan, yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
it also makes me like more so think of actually you just recently watched this, the end of the Genkai tournament arc in Yu Yu Hakusho, because
It is kinda like that.
Kuwabara does that to Yusuke when he's fighting Grando.
I mean, I think that like giving your power to another person, like, here, have my power
Yeah.
and go on. That's probably the most anime thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
The only thing that could have made that scene more anime is if the screams of the tormented souls in the background started singing Snow Halation.
Oh,
Oh no.
Jesus Christ.
I hate you. I'm actually just gonna drop out of this video now.
I'm dipping out. I'm cashing my chips in. But so you beat Necron, and then Kuja warps you out of there, which I did not understand.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that little bit.
I didn't notice it the
But-
first time either.
He uses his little like Kuja rune power that he used throughout the game. Like, he does that a lot of times to your party and takes you different places. So I think it's
established.
subtle enough. Yeah, it's an established thing. But that was how he saved the party, which I was a little unclear on. But he says that he helped, so like it's still clear in the end. And that was the end of the final battle. And then everything was dying, and then it wasn't dying anymore. And
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
So then we're back at the Aoife. Oh, right,
well,
right. Here
a
we
couple
go.
things were dying, but not most things. What do you guys think of? I think maybe my favorite moment of this whole ending was when the whole party is saying like goodbye to Zidane, or like they're all like kind of like trying to talk him out of like going back in to save Kuja, which in the video I thought kind of came out of nowhere, but now that I think about it, like, it really didn't, because
I just gotta say,
what?
I love how like ominous like him saying goodbye Zidane was, and then Zidane's. I just said Zidane, then Zidane. Wow, I'm keeping it consistent.
I mean, I know I went the entire project pronouncing the name technically wrong, but however you say it.
I'm inconsistent about it, but like I like that his response to like that ominous like goodbye. It's like, damn it, like such a Zidane way to react to that. Like,
Oh, about Kuja dying?
Yeah. He found because he didn't know he didn't realize Kuja was alive, and then that was like his
Yeah.
big tip off, and just like he's like, oh, son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah, you're right. When he gets teleported back out and he's standing on, like, the cliff thing.
Yeah.
He's like, oh fuck, I gotta go in and see this guy.
I love that. That's such a Zidane reaction too.
Yeah, that is pretty good. And it makes sense that I think it makes sense that he would go in and do that.
Yeah.
Because he had his whole biggest character moment was him like finding out that basically he's just created to do the same thing Kuja was.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, Kuja, the only difference between us is that Kuja came first and like was a fuck up. And like if he hadn't fucking taken me to Gaia and like I mean Kuja I guess is kind of responsible also for Zidane like even existing as he is, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that he would go back in, I think. And then the best scene of all time, the only one that I got a little teary-eyed about was when
Queen of cooking in the
Garnet...
castle. Oh, no. Okay.
What?
Yep, that's it.
JK.
Was Garnet and Zidane's little goodbye, which I thought was so good.
It's such a good. That's. I mean, I'm gonna say right now. I have even when I'm watching Snacks playthrough, I have yet to watch the FF9 ending and not cry a little at least.
I think we can all. Did anybody else
But,
like? Does anyone else have like little cry moments? And if so, were they like before that, or are we gonna?
This is about where it begins for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it begins, but it progressively gets worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like it's happy cry though. I think at some point.
Yeah, for sure. It's.
But I
emotional.
I just loved that. I think my favorite line, because I went back and I rewatched it obviously to edit the video, is when she's like, what did she say? I don't know. There like the line that affected me most for some reason was like she says like I've seen so many things and like met so many people like because of you or something. And that one's like particularly because it also kind of reflects how you the player have gone through the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a good one just to like take you back through the whole experience because like
Yeah.
in that moment you kind of think about everything that you've gone through.
It the part where it always just starts with me is where he says, "This is the end of the abduction. I can take you no farther."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, that's
"Ooh,
a
here we
Yeah.
go."
Yeah. And the best character in the entire game, Steiner's just like standing there.
I love he's like, I should probably give them some privacy.
Yeah. And everybody else says some pretty cool things in that part too. Of course, Vivi's like.
Yeah.
I like how even at the very end he's like, I just learned another lesson from you.
Thanks.
You know, I love that Zidane is like, I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for you. So I'm, that.
Yeah, they're bros.
They got really close. Yeah, that's kind of a nice thing because it seemed like the whole time Zidane was teaching Vivi, but Vivi ended up teaching him.
Yup. He learned
Yup.
the most from him. Yup. And then I also I think that everyone had a pretty poignant thing to say except for like Quina, who
Of course.
just is. Quina just is.
Yeah.
But I like how Freya is like, well, you've like changed because like.
Mm-hmm.
What was the history they had together? Didn't he like screw her over or something?
No, I think he just knew her from being in Lindblom.
They knew each other from Lindblom, but I think she kind of knew him more as just like a shady shit boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She knew him as a ladies' man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never construed any of how Freya even from the introduction. I always felt like they were just. She always was like, he's fine, he's harmless. I kind of like the guy.
He's aight. Yeah. And then Amarant understood him,
Yeah.
which I liked.
Amarant also kind of just. I feel like he learned a lot from Zidane too, but he understood him the most.
I feel like he didn't really have enough time to learn that much, though.
True.
I feel like Amarant. The only problem I have with him, because does everyone else, would everyone else say he's their least favorite character?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of the party?
Yeah.
No, in terms of the story.
Well, no, I think he means out of the 8 party characters.
Out of the main characters.
I don't know if I'd say he's my least favorite.
he had a lot of potential. Like, I liked the story. I thought he'd become like pretty badass, but it just not too much focused on him, so he just
Yeah.
came out flatter than the others.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. The same problem I have with Amarant is the opposite problem I have with Freya, in that I like them both. I think both their stories are cool, but Freya, all her shit gets handled like on like disc 1, like super early, or like almost like the end of disc 1, like beginning of disc 2, and then she's not really relevant to the plot at all until the very end. And Amarant, you get him like just a little too late, so like all of his like kind of story stuff like is not that much, because then you're going into like the final battle and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I don't like calling him my least favorite character of the party, but he is.
They're all good though.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
they're all good. But so then Zidane rides the fucking
The vines.
the vines in, which how cool was that, like the presentation of that scene?
Yeah, that seems awesome.
Earlier.
When he's standing on the
No.
vine with his hands on his hips, just
doesn't
swinging his
care.
tail in the
I like-
breeze.
I like that. I was gonna say earlier I had a thought about that, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna save it for this discussion," and here we are now. So, when he's falling and he sees Kuja and there's like a freeze frame,
Yeah.
just, someone needs to take that freeze frame and just have the narration. So you're probably wondering how it came to this, huh?
Like a record
You're-
scratch.
you're
This is me. You're probably wondering. Isn't there a Final Fantasy that does that? Like, not in that way, but what game? What am I thinking of? There's some game that has like a that kind of thing, where it starts like that shows the first scene and it's like already like halfway into the. Oh, it's 10.
10, yeah.
10 does that. That's basically 10 is. This is me. You're probably wondering how I got to this place. Tidus basically says something akin to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my story.
Yeah. I actually didn't realize how impressive that actually kind of
Yeah.
technically I feel like is.
It's also,
like,
it also might explain why Memoria is a little short.
well, I think there's something else that explains why Memoria
That's
is a little
true.
short. We'll get to that. But I thought that was like really like technically really cool. Like I don't know if there's anything like that in 8, but like that they did like a FMV like CG thing, but it was Zidane's actual character model, and then like there's the cool like bullet time thing. I thought that was really good.
There's a couple scenes in 8 where they kind of combine FMV
Yeah.
and Squall's like main character model.
I guess
Like,
the thing
in-game.
is like in 7 that's
Not as
like,
cool as
7
this, though.
just 7 is just tragic as far as the way like the in-game models look. Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
still great looking, still the best game ever, but like they would not have been able to do that. So it is cool to see like how far the series came on the PS1. And then I thought the scene with Kuja dying, like at the end, you know, like when there's talking, is that supposed to be Makoto?
Afterwards, yeah.
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 I'm pretty sure anyway.
I thought that was pretty good. I liked that. And I liked, but didn't Zidane know that like he was gonna like hold on. I'm just getting all kinds of jumbled up here. So Kuja, did he die because of like something that happened in the final scene, or did he die because like his time had come?
I think it was explained through Garland, like the reason he created Zidane is because he realized he was the fuck up where he wouldn't live
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
So like his time was coming. That's why he went all trance. He was upset that he was gonna
Yeah.
die, so might as well kill everything.
Right.
So he used, like, I'm pretty sure how I saw it, he used the rest of his remaining life to save those, to bring them out and that's when he died
Oh.
in there.
Oh.
That's how I always saw it.
I wasn't sure if he did that or if like that just happened to be the moment where he expired.
Mm-hmm.
But they never said how imminent like that event was.
True. It's pretty up to interpretation.
Yeah. But either way, it was cool, and I liked what Makoto did say about him kind of being like even though he was like a shit and evil, he was like kind of like the hero of the Genome Project guys because he was the only one who did something different. Other than Zidane, the true hero that we all needed.
Mm-hmm.
Kuja was like the hero they deserved, who decided he didn't want to do that.
He
decided to go kill everybody instead.
He decided he was the prince of all Saiyans, I guess. So, yeah, that's what he did.
And then, I think the whole reason I even fucking wanted to make this video is the next part, which is like the final what happened to everybody scene.
Yeah.
And it starts with not Vivi coming across Puck, the rat boy. And it wasn't him. It was his son. And then he had a whole little marching band of son Vivis. And I guess in the video, I kind of just assumed Vivi was in there. Because they don't ever explicitly say anything about him. But I don't think it is also... I don't think it's left up to interpretation either.
No.
Like, it's pretty clear, but just, like, not clear enough that they said anything about it.
To be honest, I didn't fully get the ending until Taryn was talking to me, like, a year or two ago about it. And then he was like... I forget even what was said, but it's like, you realize that's Vivi, and I'm like, what? And I just bawled.
It's unclear.
Ugh.
Like, I'm willing to admit that, like, I am definitely not gonna put up the argument that, like, Vivi lived. Because if he lived, he would have been in the ending. Like, he would have at least said something, like...
His son wouldn't have freaked out so much, asking about, how do you know Vivi? What's Vivi to you?
If Vivi had lived, he would have walked by at the end of the line of little Vivis, and he would have said something. Like,
yeah.
He wouldn't, like, definitely the fact that there's no mention of him other than from his sons, and that there's that monologue, like, clearly implies it, but not clearly implies it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll actually say I love the way it was presented. It may be a little unclear, but it doesn't it like lets you figure it out, and I think it kind of has a little more impact because of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you're not like a Dumbo like me, and you understood it, then like now that I know that's what happened, I actually think like it is sad, but I also think it's like there's kind of some happiness in it too.
For sure.
Cause we knew like it's just like I guess maybe because the whole game like shortly after you meet like the black mages that have like gotten like #woke like like one of the first things you learn about them is that they're gonna expire at some point. So that's a well-known thing that like black mages do that. Mm-hmm. And it's nice that like Vivi, like that's really what he ended up coming to terms with, was that he was gonna die. Mm-hmm. So he like his whole arc ended kind of in like the best way it could have, because he did die, and not only was he probably okay with it, but he did like, well, I mean, I guess this is a subjective opinion, but he did like the most important thing like you can do in life, which was like pass it on to like others. So he got to fulfill something.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Still a little unclear.
No one. The verdict's out on how that happened, but I guess it did. I guess they found another way to make black mages, or they just kept using the little factory thing.
Or there was a little female black mage.
Or can they though? Can they bang?
Well, or Queena.
Or the OTP?
Right,
They did
there
get
is
married.
that-
It would have been
that
consensual.
canon.
What if they just fucked? And Vivi was pregnant for the whole game.
Oh my god.
Like, Queena has a huge tongue. I
guess-
mean, she can use
I
it
guess
for
Queena
something.
also is pretty like gender non-binary. Maybe Queena got pregnant. Maybe they were really butchering this. I feel like we should probably just scrap the whole video at this point.
Goodbye.
We're ruining this.
Goodbye, half the people that were watching.
Oh no! We went too far. Damn it. Yeah, somehow he had kids. But I liked it.
Yeah.
I think they definitely were created because they look exactly like him.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. No other black mage looked just like him, except for those guys.
I think what I've also heard is that I looked at this up too, and that the speech in the end in Japanese like uses like speech quirks or like a manner of speaking that is like more indicative of Vivi, which is probably like kind of like childish or like innocent sounding, I would assume.
Yeah.
But that's to kind of let you know that that's who it was. And the English version, I guess, doesn't really have him talk in any like specific way.
That's a common thing too, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
that's
it
the
is.
thing I know about Dragon Ball too, is that they have more like recognizable speech patterns in the Japanese version.
Well, I mean, I guess with Vivi, like, in, like, his speech pattern, like, in the beginning of the game would have been that he, like, and, like,
Yeah.
kind of,
Dot,
like,
dot,
is-
dot.
Yeah, like, he's, like, kind of, like, shy and, like, young sounding. And they do make him sound like that, but the monologue at the end doesn't sound like that.
It's very grown up.
Yeah, it's very mature. But
I always
but that's
thought it
good,
was
too.
Dagger.
I thought it was, I don't know if I expressed this in the video, but I thought it was all the different characters talking.
You flip flop back and forth.
Yeah, I thought, I think before finding out it was Vivi, my idea was that it was all of them saying something about Zidane. But really it was just Vivi,
Yeah.
which is good. I went back and rewatched that and I got a little emotional about the whole speech and stuff too.
Yeah, that's also reading that is, and knowing what happens, it makes it even like I think more emotional too, of an
Yeah.
ending.
The final line where he says, "My memories belong to the sky."
Ooh.
I always lose
Yeah,
it.
I love that. I think
Always.
they kind of were trying, maybe not said in the clearest way, but and this is something I love, like it's one of my favorite things in like media or like as a storytelling kind of device, but it sort of seemed like they were saying like, you know, even just when it relates to death, like people like still live on if other people have memories of them.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they chose to convey it was like, I think saying like memory, like they said a lot like memories are like passed down, and I didn't really understand that, but I think that's kind of what they're getting at with that, right? That like things still live on through the memories of other people,
Yeah.
which I liked. I mean, I'm not gonna say One Piece didn't do it better in the Drum Island arc, but I mean, there was
You're not
no
wrong.
Dr. Hiroluk speech. But it was still good. It was a good. And I think that's what Vivi, like, him saying, like, my memories will become the sky. Like, it's just, like, I'll live on, you know?
Should we also like
Vivi
address?
is Chopper
Oh, go ahead.
in that canon. That's it.
Oh,
What?
I was just gonna say, should we like address all the like the before it like all the different character moments before it or while Vivi's speech is happening?
Yeah. They were all good.
I liked them all. Yes.
Freya's, I think, is really good. I mean, I pretty much touched on that. I think I gave my full thoughts
Yeah,
on that
yeah.
in the video, but what do you guys think about it?
Yeah, Freya's was great. I love
Yeah,
the
phrase is good.
it you know the easiest thing to do would have been like, oh, he got his memory back, everything's happy, but
Yeah.
I think the way it happened like doesn't feel like super like phoned in, like, oh, of course everything turned out happy, but it still was a happy thing.
It's the
Yeah.
most satisfying Freya's could have been for me. Because
Yeah.
Right.
if you fully got the memories back, it'd been like, okay, so what was the point of everything else? But
And if Freya had just become like a loner, like if the final Freya part was like her like standing on a cliff or something, like overlooking, and like there's like wind blowing, and then she like jumps away, that would have been pretty
And
dumb.
she's all like, "Sorry, I betrayed you, Cecil."
Yeah.
I might be thinking of a different game.
Yeah, I think even with the vast separation between that final scene and Freya's like when we found out about all that stuff, I think it still was good. Like, you remember who Fratley is. And Queena's was fine.
Yeah,
I liked that.
it's
Okay.
just Queena continuing to be Queena, which is really the best we can expect from them.
Yeah, that was Queena, the unfaltering, the unflinching character. Isn't that Queena's like quote in like the little beginning? It's just like, I do what I want.
you
Got
have problem?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Whatever, I do what I want. And of course, Taryn's favorite character ever, Aiko. Hers was probably my.
I love Aiko's ending.
That might be my of those little endings, like not counting Zidane and Garnet's.
Oh yeah,
ending.
of
Aiko's
those.
was probably my favorite too.
So adorable.
It's the cutest,
Just
and I love that Sid like is into it too.
yeah. I said ended up, him and his wife had troubles, but they got over it.
They got a
and
kid.
Now they have a kid.
Now they have a kid together.
You think Aiko brought all the Moogles from?
Yeah, I
I
And
think
they all
so.
just hang out in the castle.
I
hope.
think
I
so.
sure hope so, because they were like her family.
Yeah.
I never thought
She went-
about that. That's adorable.
Yeah, I never did either.
I just thought of that right now, so don't feel too bad.
Did Sid and Hilda didn't have like a daughter that died or something, right?
No.
That didn't
No.
happen.
That
right?
was Braun.
Just brain. Brawn.
Too focused
Yeah,
on
Bronn.
his airships.
Mhm.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think that, but I just needed to make sure. And then Amarant's was just
It was Amron.
yeah, I mean
Amarant's.
he was kicking it.
Cool to see
But I think
Laney again.
the fact that Amarant went to the play, I feel like is Amarant's ending.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Lonnie.
Like the fact
Lonnie
that
went
he's
too.
like, Lonnie, you're not going? What the fuck, dude? Like, I feel like that he cares enough about anybody to, like, want to go to that is, like, what ends up becoming of him.
I wish we got to see like more of like Amarant and Lonnie's relationship. Like what were they? How do they feel about each other more? I mean, you kind of get the sense that, well, at least now that they're like pals, and before that, I always kind of was like they're probably just like maybe not friendly, but like they're rivals. Oh, hold on, I'll be right back.
I don't know. Do they, like, work together now, or?
I just assumed they were like they're partners in the sense that like Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman were partners, where they
my
they
God.
no they got together. They got together for work, but outside of work, they don't interact with each other whatsoever. I always thought Lonnie hated him.
On Mythbusters, what would the Final Fantasy IX like Gaian equivalent of Mythbusters with Lonnie and Amarant be? Mithril Busters. I don't know. I don't know anything.
It works.
It doesn't, but okay.
What were we
Mithril
talking about?
Buster swords.
That Lonnie and Amarant are like fucking Jamie and Adam from Mythbusters. I guess
Sure.
because they work together but aren't friends outside of their work.
Is that the case with the MythBuster people?
Yeah,
I guess
surprisingly.
so. I guess.
Really?
Huh.
And Penn and Teller.
Oh, really?
Penn and Teller.
Yeah. They feel like it keeps them more professional if they don't interact outside of work.
That's interesting.
That's what I just always thought of Amarant and Lonnie. Just like they were doing their job, they were bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Are Lonnie and Amarant still friends?
The Game Grumps of the FF9 world. What?
We need fan arts of all of this, by the way.
What if there was a Let's Play channel on Gaia, and it originally starred Amarant and Lonnie, but then Lonnie had to be replaced by I don't know.
The four-armed man.
I was trying to think like Snot-Nosed Gudo or something.
Topless Jeff.
Topless Jeff, that was what I was thinking of.
Oh, wait, how good was it that they got together, though? That wasn't even in the ending, but, like, how good that the part-time workers...
Yeah.
That's cute.
Oh, it was sweet.
There's a little something about the four-armed man I was gonna bring up. It's, I guess... I mean, I didn't think you would probably reach it, because it's actually a little ridiculous. I think you gotta find every treasure chest in the game.
We were definitely just talking about this off,
I don't think you
like,
have to find
before we
everyone.
started recording.
Oh, really?
I think it's a decent amount, though.
It's most, not all, but there's very few you can miss.
Because he said, you know, he told you your treasure rank. He tells you his, like, actual name if you get them all. That's the thing. And if... Yeah. I mean, he is a four-armed guy in the Final Fantasy world, so, you know...
It's Gilgamesh.
It's Gilgamesh.
You can hear his name in the Sakura-Con 2009 commercial. It's
Sakura-Con? That's where I am.
Gilgamesh. All right, that's who he was.
He's cool.
I guess.
He's also Alleyway Jack.
He's also Alleyway Jack. Spoilers for anyone who
didn't watch the LP, but
people
watched
told
this.
me. I think the
Shit.
people. Spoilers for anyone. If this is your first part of the Final Fantasy IX Let's Play and you never played the game before, why did you make it 57 minutes into this shit? First of all,
It's a pretty weird time.
second, what's wrong with you? I bet. And did the Tantalus got a little bit in the ending too?
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
they? But they were just like, we're preparing for the play.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad they
No.
they got to be around because I love Tantalus.
Yeah, they're the best. The only thing I was unsatisfied with is that 3 of the game's most important characters were snubbed, really, in the ending. Of course,
Here we go.
of course, I'm referring to Aaron, Stiltskin, and the Friendly Feather Circle. The fact that their inclusion was not to be seen anywhere. The fact that Stiltskin...
Aaron was there.
Aaron was there
in
the scene before.
In the airship.
She helped them out of she helped them. But she didn't get her resolution, which I can only assume would be like hooking up with Blank or somebody cool. Like Aaron was definitely my waifu of the game, but like I would pass her on to that.
Right.
And Stiltskin
No, Blank is with
fucking
Ruby.
No.
That's canon.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Beck and I share the opinion that Blank is secretly like pining for Zidane.
Oh, all the way.
That it's like that's sort of like the OTP that like in the end like he was about to like swoop in and like cuck Garnet
Pretty much.
in the final moments, but he didn't do that. And then of course the Friendly Feather Circle should have been in the crowd. I would have settled for them being like in the crowd at the play. Like come on, game.
What was it?
They didn't.
They're on the
missed out.
roofs.
They missed their
rooftop
chance.
viewers.
They missed their chance.
What was it you guys were saying? Blank pines for Zidane, but then also Marcus pines for Blank.
That's what I
Beck,
think.
Yeah,
like
Beck brought that up. That
Interesting.
Marcus like wants Blank Senpai to notice him.
he's like the main person who's super into reviving Blank. I mean, all of them want it, but he's the
most
one like
invested.
fighting for it.
Man,
And
has
then
a
he's
whole
also
feature,
like
in the main storyline about
Yeah.
that.
And we lost another
doesn't
half of the
even say
viewers
something like,
because of
It's like
Blank's
That's
Blank's
Bob.
the
not-
only one I call bro.
Doesn't even say. He says. Does he say that?
He does say that.
Yeah, he does.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
His Aniki Desu.
Yeah. Well, you're just really determined to kill off all the viewers' snack.
Marcus is an anime.
You
Go
got-
back and watch episode 70 of the Final Fantasy IX LP when I brought up anime Marcus.
You did.
His heart goes doki dokiing. You know who else's heart doki dokied was Steiner, and he, being the best character ever, got his comeuppance. He got a smoking hot babe, and I loved it. And they held a sword at the
Pretty
end.
good.
And I think he held a different sword afterwards in that, and it went into her scabbard.
Well, good. Well, thank you for watching the Final Fantasy IX wrap-up video.
you know, whenever I
Why?
play Final Fantasy
He
IX,
wielded that fucking Excalibur 2 because it took him 12 hours.
Oh my
We know that's
god.
not what you meant.
He lasts that long.
We know that's not what you
oh god.
meant. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just always like to name Steiner Rusty whenever I'm playing Final Fantasy IX. It goes together with the Rusty really good.
That'll be the first time anyone's ever heard that word on the Snack Attack 8 channel.
We'll have to bleep that.
Nah.
Okay.
You're welcome.
We'll bleep it with something good though.
With a Z.
With a Z.
It makes it
I'm around-
feminine.
Amaranth's another good character to name funny because he introduced himself as the Flaming.
Yeah. The flaming. I should call him Moltrace the next time I play the
Oh,
game.
you should.
I am
Aw.
a flaming Moltrace. Zidane and Garnet got together too, I guess.
Yeah.
Just the,
Shit, buddy.
just-
I love a good game when everyone either has kids or like gets shipped off at the end. That's my whole aesthetic.
But not an anime.
But not an
Should we first kind of go into how I met your canary?
Wait,
Kids, I'm going to tell you a story.
how I met
Oh my
your-
god.
Let me try that again.
What is the intro to that show? Is there a song for that?
Yeah, it's like ba 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 ba. Yeah, that one. They even say ba. They're like Smooth McGroove in it the whole time.
Yeah.
But
How I met-
so that play happens.
I like that you get to really see like the play, kind of. That was a
Yeah.
cool part.
Yeah,
Cool play.
That was a cool little touch that you really get to see like how it's supposed to play out.
without the epic sword fight and impressing Queen Braun though.
Yeah.
And
And a number out of 100 nobles.
that last noble is really hard to please. There was like I think there was like an
The
awkward.
Roger Ebert of the Final Fantasy IX universe.
Yeah, I think there was like a maybe it was like Corpse Run or something where they were like there was a webcomic I read. I'm pretty sure it's Corpse Run where it's just like it was like 95 out of 100 nobles are impressed and like there's like a few people in the front row. What's with the kid's weird eye visor thing? Just like heckling everybody.
That's good. Yeah, one of the kids is definitely like just a ragdoll man. He's weird. Why is he like that?
I mean, there's
hardcore.
also
I guess-
weird orc
I guess
Marcus and Uncle
The rest
Cinna.
of them are just goblins, so it's probably fine.
Uncle Cinna.
Sin is a monster. Marcus is kind of like a troll. Baku's like a pig man. And then they have like hippos as their like little servants. Ruby is really the only normal one. I don't know how she got mixed up with those guys.
But she comes from the south somehow.
She comes from the South, the
South
American South in the Final Fantasy IX
Oh.
realm.
She kind of does, yeah.
It took me years to realize that she was wearing a blue bandana and had
Yeah.
blonde hair.
You realized that the other day, or not the other day, but when we were looking at like some concept art, I think Taryn was trying to get us to cosplay the Tantalus.
Oh my god.
Which we should still do.
Holla.
Holla. Stay tuned for MagFest.
We're not gonna do that.
It's not gonna happen. We're not gonna do that.
I mean,
cosplay's impossible.
Beck's not even gonna
hard.
be there. Neither is
Beck's
Sis,
not
as far as
gonna
I
be there.
know.
Neither is Sis.
I'm not.
Aw.
That's a shame.
So that's what Ruby looks like. But did everybody think that Zidane was in the play?
No.
Did y'all think that? You didn't think that?
I had my suspicions.
I don't remember what I thought.
Did anyone think he really died?
Nah.
Sort of, but I was also like 8, so I thought everything was just how it was shown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I did. I played the game when I was like 21, so
Oh.
you know.
Oh.
Dad, how did it say? Was it a year after?
It never
It
specified.
says sometime later,
Sometime.
and like
Long
I
enough
read
for Garnet's hair to
theories.
regrow.
Yeah, someone
Oh,
was
shit,
like,
you're right.
in
She had
the
long
game, her hair just grows freakishly fast, so it's up to 6 months later. But I feel like it's when she's 18, like it was a coronation to her
Yep, so it
becoming
could be-
queen.
so it could be consensual.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm picking. I
Yeah,
hear
buddy.
you. Gee, buddy. So what was Zidane doing?
He had to walk all the way back, I assume.
Huh. Yeah, that's true.
What happened to Choco Boko?
That's a good question,
He
man.
could have just called his
Choco
Chocobo
Lombonowitz.
Choco Lombanowitz.
What
could've-
if he could have borrowed Bobby Corwin,
He could have borrowed little Bobby Corwin.
who the
The
first
Ifa tree is where is the Ifa tree located near? It is located
It's
by the
on the
Black
other-
Mage Village, right?
Yeah, on the other side of the mountain.
Yeah, so he easily could have gotten Bobby Corwin. Well, he would have had to wait for him to reach maturity, though.
if you didn't know, Bobby Corwin is named that because it's supposed to be like a long form of Boko.
Yeah, I think somebody told me that in a comment somewhere.
Was it me?
That's cool, though. It might have been you.
I don't know.
Bobby Corwin. But who cares? Because they got together in the end, and it was cute. I loved it.
It's such
Best
a,
ending
such
ever.
a good the obvious. I love the Zidane, or not the Zidane, the Steiner and Beatrix opening the door for her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it was
was all.
cute.
I really like things that like mirror the beginning of things, and that was like the best way they could have done that.
Although shoutouts to her just leaving that necklace behind, I guess.
her family
know,
pendant.
The jewel that
Yeah, what
can
do you-
summon the most just devastating
I
summon.
feel like Zidane would have waited like a couple more seconds for her to pick
Yeah.
that back up. I mean, it seems
What
like
do you guys?
a little important.
Did that just kind of was it just to show how important it was for her to get to him?
I feel like that's probably what
I
it
guess.
is.
Yeah.
Wasn't
It was just
that, like,
symbolism.
Wasn't that like her mother's keepsake or something?
Yeah, so that's weird.
Yeah, I feel like somebody probably picked it up for her.
Bye, Mom.
But
I want a dude.
I want this man.
He's got a tail.
He's got a tail.
Sure does. Because Dragon
But I-
Ball.
Because it's from
That's
Dragon
Dragon
Ball.
Ball.
I thought that like the whole FMV though of her like of him being there and her like running down and shit and like the main theme is playing and all that. I really liked it.
Pretty
It was
good.
just all good.
I
And
love
the
that.
subtle tears coming off her cheek.
Yeah.
I love that she hits him a couple times too.
Oh, I love that's
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
like
part
that.
that gets me.
Yeah.
It's a
I love
cute
that.
little thing. That is, I mean, that's in a lot of things, but it's a good. It shows their relationship. I feel like well.
Yeah.
I love his smile about it too. He's like, yeah,
Yeah, he gives her
I
that little
know.
like smirk, like, eh.
Yeah, I guess I did mess up. Sorry. I love it.
The reason why Dane is the best is because he's basically like, hold on, we're gonna get really blasphemous for like 2 seconds until I
Go
can
for it.
explain myself. But he's basically Cloud, except if Cloud was like
Good.
silly instead of serious.
I could see that.
Zidane, like they're both secretly just kind of like softy, like weirdo, like sentimental weird guys, really.
Mm-hmm.
But Zidane puts on like this kind of like not like cool guy. Like Cloud tries to be like badass. Zidane just kind of like is goofy and like a womanizer. Like that's his little like his outward appearance. But inward, like the best scene in the entire game is when he's like moping about not being able to be with Garnet after like he like spits game on her for the whole game.
Yeah.
But then when like really it's like, oh shit, like we're not gonna be able to be together, and then he gets bummed out and he's just like just anybody else, like this regular guy. That was the best part. And then I think at the ending, like you kind of get that, like he still kind of is like lame, but then he's like, you know what, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's good.
No Cloud, no Squall shall hinder him.
That happened.
That's
that's
true.
the thing they said.
That's line.
That's a good line. It's like the line you read and you just go, oh, fuck you guys.
Oh, fuck off, Square Enix. Squaresoft, whatever.
It actually was like right around the time, I think, like it says Squaresoft in the original release and Enix on the like greatest hits version.
I have
Oh, really?
version
I think so.
behind me somewhere. I don't think so, because Final Fantasy X still says Squaresoft.
Yeah.
I mean, Final Fantasy IX was like really late game PS1.
Yeah.
Like they were actually, I think both games were in development at the same time.
They're only a year apart about, I think, in release.
I mean, it's possible.
But I think it, I don't know, maybe. You know what? I think you're actually right that it does say Square Enix on the greatest hits, because I think I looked at it and I was like, Square Enix? The fuck?
If I felt like plugging my PS2 in right now, I could just put it in and figure it out.
Chat, or people in the comments, leave a message if it was Square Enix.
Because I have the greatest hits version, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, me too. Because the regular version was like $1,000. And I was like, nope.
I think it's a Square Enix. Just playing it out in my head.
I will take your shoddy reliving of that opening scene just out of memory as fact that it says Square Enix.
I think there was an airship flying by and then like a map
Yeah,
or
there
whatever.
is. Yeah, it's a map. And
At
there's an airship.
least on disc 1 there is.
Only on disc 1 that happens.
Which I think is a nice touch.
And then they sang a song. Girl in the tower.
No.
There was a ballad. No. It was a good song.
It's
I
good.
love Melodies of Life. I'm gonna be real.
One thing I wanted to ask you guys, do you think this song, like the lyrics, they're clearly like themed around the game, but do you think they're supposed to be from any one character's perspective? Like, has anyone like really like looked at the words to the song and like tried to figure that out?
There's someone I follow who does a lot of Final Fantasy like lyric videos. They take like OSTs and then do lyrics to them. When she did Melodies of Life cover, she basically said that she wanted it to be about Freya because she felt Freya was the most encompassing of the theme of it.
Huh.
So ever since then, I've kind of looked at it and
Yeah,
thought that makes sense.
There is one line in there now that you mention it that seems pretty like Freya too fratly.
Oh.
That's interesting.
Maybe it's, but there was also, when I was listening to it the other day, there was one, I think when it's like, I think it also definitely reminds, like, it seems like it's sort of in, like, implying, like, Vivi, too, is what I was thinking about it. And then, I guess, like, there's, like, I don't know.
It's about all of them.
I don't know.
Maybe it is about all of them.
Maybe I should look at the lyrics again, but yeah.
There was one line that I was like, is this supposed to be, like, Vivi's?
It's just goodbye.
Like, from his perspective?
No, I don't know.
But I don't think it is, because the other parts in the song don't sound like they really would be. It's also just a song.
Yeah.
I think the lyrics are pretty good, though, as far as, you know, the riskiest of all maneuvers putting a lyrical song in your video game ending.
Which I'm guessing is the thing you were talking about, the real reason why Memoria was so short.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So.
Because
I'm sure the actual info on this exists somewhere, but I am convinced that the only reason there is a disc 4 to this game is because of that fucking song. Like, those, I don't know if any of you guys know anything about this. Those, like, putting a song, like a real, like, vocals, like you would on a CD on, like, a game disc, like, that song probably takes up, like, 3/4 of disc 4. Like, as far as space goes.
I would
like,
not be surprised.
It was so, like, fucking data, like, memory heavy back in the day to do that. Like, I'm convinced that's the only reason that the game went longer than 3 discs.
Yeah, I would
There's
not
also
be
a
surprised.
good amount of FMVs.
Yeah.
There are, but like, really, like, it's shocking how much space, like, music would take.
I would
like,
say the game is like 1/16 like game on that final disc. Also, I think like the first time I played the game, I mentioned this to Beck. I think that might also, like, the mist might have been a good excuse to maybe make it a little less
make the
intensive.
draw distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be. But if that's the case, though, I feel like I mean, no one cares if there's a 4th disc. Like,
That's a
better for them to go all out and make 4 than to
yeah.
just
I'm
do
fine with
3.
it. I already have to switch like my disc a couple times anyway. Might as well do it again.
It could have been 10 discs, and I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
They could have put 4 times the amounts of FMVs in there.
You love a good FMV.
There could have been a whole 4 disc set of just, like, bloopers. And more songs. character songs. Each character gets to sing a little melody.
Just imagining like a Pixar movie, just bloopers happening while melodies of life is playing in the background.
Wouldn't have nothing if I didn't have you. That's, you know what? That's a pretty good. I think that's a good way to end off the ending of the game.
I was imagining Vivi singing Snow Halation as his song.
You know,
I'm out.
Vivi's character theme would be weeb as fuck. Vivi was voiced by Ikue Otani in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Aww.
That's my favorite thing.
And he has like
who-
5 lines.
She's the I looked it up actually. He goes like, "Argh!" Like, and that's all really.
I'm trying
Like,
to
he says like one thing.
Doesn't
It's
There.
like at the
She's-
very beginning
she's-
of the game.
I know
Yeah,
that name.
It sucks.
It's the voice of Pikachu, most notably.
Oh, all right,
Along
yeah.
with- along with-
Bon Bon from Mega Man Legends.
Yeah, and Chopper from One Piece, and a million other voices.
Yeah.
But that alone makes me want a voice. They should just make a remake. PS4. They should put it on the
Oh.
PS4
Snack, you should do a Let's Play of Mega Man Legends.
someday.
Okay.
And every other game ever.
In every game.
Also, Crash Bandicoot, Ape Escape,
Crash and the Boy.
Crash well, that's not a PS1 game even, but yeah, do that. I don't even really know how you can do a Let's Play of that game, but yeah, sure. Tekken 3.
Barbie.
Barbie.
Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo in the Cyber Chase, huh?
That's the end of the game. That's our thoughts on the ending. Anyone have any overalls? I think we were pretty. I mean, this took way fucking longer than I thought it would. First of all. But anyone have any just overall opinions on it? How would you guys rank it, like, in terms of other Final Fantasy endings?
Well,
Oh.
hold on. You go first, actually.
I was just gonna say it's my favorite ending. Favorite everything Final Fantasy related. And I won't get into it because spoilers, but I just find everything in Final Fantasy IX comparative to Tales of the Abyss.
It's a little bit like Tales of the Abyss.
I could go like hours and explain how everything, but
I
I
think
pass.
it's more like that than it is like Dragon Ball, actually. But it's also kind of like Dragon
It's a lot like Dragon Ball. Come on. I've already explained to you like the my big one on that. How Zidane versus Kuja is Goku versus Vegeta, really.
It is sort of that.
Goku all had the help of Gohan, Krillin, and Yajirobe. So there was a party of 4. Just saying, guys.
In the way that Vivi is Gohan, Steiner is Krillin, and Dagger is Yajirobe.
Okay, that's
Oh.
we're done.
I would put Steiner on Yajirobe.
Steiner is definitely Yajirobe.
Steiner, nah, Garnet.
Okay,
Garnet's
that's
Yajirobe.
fair. And that Zidane
Queen
is
of being
also
Yamcha.
for sure.
Who being Yamcha?
Queen.
Yeah, Queen of being like fucking Oolong or something.
Amrat definitely Tien though, right? We're clear on that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
He starts off as a bad guy and then he becomes good.
You know what? Queen could be Chaozu.
Actually,
Freya can be Launch because much in the way that Fratley forgot about her, Akira Toriyama forgot about Launch.
that's good. Also, to be fair, a lot of the main good guys in Dragon Ball started off as villains.
That's true.
Like
Almost everybody.
Like Krillin didn't.
Like Krillin. Well, Krillin was like a friendly rival. Why are we fucking talking about this?
Because of how similar it is to Dragon Ball, obviously.
You know what? I'm pulling the plug on this video.
Oh, one more.
What are your final thoughts, Taryn?
I was gonna say one more thing. Before Sis gets his. I did like the ending credits. How it shows like Zidane and Dagger about to kiss, and it shows like the 2 worlds colliding. There's a lot of symbolism in that.
What?
At the end of the credits.
When? What?
Yeah, go back and look at it. Like right at the end when it's doing the da na 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 na. When that
What the
ends,
fuck?
kind of.
And the logo kind of fades in.
Yeah. So,
What?
It's the blue and the red.
yeah.
planets.
Also, kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy IV.
Don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna live look it up right now.
Also, in terms of favorite Final Fantasies, this is mine, but also the only other one I've beaten is 4, so my opinion may not mean that much.
Sis, what do you think about it?
It's good. In terms of PS1 Final Fantasies, I think it's definitely the best ending.
I have a hard time ranking this game just in general as far as favorites would be. I think just to be like a nostalgia boy, oh yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Isn't that cool?
Wait, hold on, wait a minute. Let me, what? Oh yeah, whoa.
It's like the two worlds are colliding.
Start the
Two
commentary
worlds are
over.
colliding.
Aw.
We gotta go back and redo this all from the perspective of me knowing that the 2 worlds are colliding. The worlds did collide.
Also, I didn't, I guess, talk about how I feel about the game's ending. I love this game's ending. It's one of my favorite endings in the game I've played so far, I'd say.
I think for me, it probably was my favorite ending in any Final Fantasy because it felt so like complete. Like I really didn't feel like there was anything from any other character that I wanted to like still see, other than I wanted to see Stiltskin and the Friendly Feather Circle again.
Obviously.
But like
That was
never gonna happen. That aside, like I think it's pretty perfect. The only thing I think maybe being like not that great is that 2 people in here didn't understand that Vivi died, which is pretty crucial. And I feel like I like that it's a little like I think it could just be a little bit less ambiguous but not directly say it, and that would be better.
Yeah.
But all in all, 10 out of 10, best game ever, best ending ever.
It's one of 2 video games that's endings have ever made me cry, and the other one is a Game Boy Advance game. I'm sure that like completely like gives it away.
Yep, Shrek, Hassle at the Castle.
Sure.
Shrek's sad. Shrek's not sad.
I mean, if it's based on Shrek 1, I mean, he's kind of got a little bit of a plight. I mean...
Yeah, it's pretty tragic. Shrek is kind of tragic.
A little bit.
This is a Shrek video now.
Shrek is kind of
Oh,
tragic
Lord.
is where we end the video, I feel like, right? We're done here.
Tragic. What I was going to say is I think 4 is always going to be my favorite Final Fantasy, just because it's the first one I played.
It's a good game.
Though more grand and like bigger stories and games have come after. That was like my first, like, other than like Pokemon, like my first like real like RPG experience. And I think it's just the best. But other than that, I think this one might end up edging out 7 as second favorite. I probably would need a little more time with it. But definitely I think ending wise, this has probably been my favorite one of any of the Final Fantasies. Just because it's so complete. It's just a happy ending in all the best ways.
Yeah.
Even a
Yeah.
character can just straight up die, and it's still, like, there's some happiness to it.
He lived a full life, though, and you can tell he was happy
Yeah.
even at the end.
He came to terms. He died. I think he died with no regrets.
The most
And he probably got
overused joke.
a tattoo that said no regrets
The,
on his arm.
the most overused joke of this decade.
All right, kids. Well, thanks for joining me in this extended meme-filled talk about the ending of the game. And if you're still watching this at any point, I hope, maybe leave, if you didn't already do it on the other video, maybe leave your thoughts about it. And now let's roll the credits.
I already commented on your last part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo!
I think we're good.
Also, please
Yeah.
Signing
resubscribe.
off. Subscribe. Thanks for watching. The girl in the tower. The doo-doo-doo.
What?
You seem so far away, and I just need to hear your voice. I just need to hear you say, if you would have me go